The Mythological Ritual. An event that only occurs when Diana is elected as mayor is by far one of the best events to have ever happened in Hypixel Skyblock. The ability to fight mobs for a wide range of unique and incredibly useful loot or dig up valuable treasures allows any Skyblock player with the Griffin Pet to profit massively or to strengthen their profile even more. No other current event in the game competes with how beneficial it is to farm the Mythological Ritual, making it the best event to have been added to the game so far. But before we continue, if you have any further questions or comments about this video, be sure to pop into my Twitch streams. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The links are down in the description below. That's a great place to ask any questions that you might have about this video, so I highly recommend you check it out. With that out of the way, let's get right into the video. Alrighty, so in today's video we are going to be covering the Mythological Ritual event, why I think it's the best event in the game, and why I think you guys should be very cautious of the next time it rolls around, because it's going to be very important for any player in Skyblock, whether you're rich, you're poor, or you just want to play the game for fun. I think it's one of the best events in the game, and I'm going to explain that in a bit. So for those of you that don't already know how the event works and what you're supposed to do, when Diana is active, you use this thing called the Ancestral Spade, and when you hold this and you right click on it, it won't actually work because as you can see it says that the ritual isn't even active, but when it is active, a trail of particles will lead you to a burrow, which will be anywhere in the hub island. It can be over the dark auction, it can be over near the castle in that direction, it can also be over there near the barn, it can be in a lot of different places as long as it's on a grass block, and then you have a chance of either digging up a really cool treasure item, or you can spawn a mini boss of some sort, and that boss will drop a really cool item that you can sell or you can keep as well, and a lot of these items go for a lot of money, which is what I'll get into a little bit later. So to actually do this event, you also will need to grab yourself a Griffin Pet. Now obviously I've got myself a legendary one because I do take this event pretty seriously, and I will explain why the legendary one is very important in a little bit as well. But essentially if you look at the first perk here, you can see that it says Odyssey, mythological creatures you find and burrows you dig scale in difficulty, and rewards based on your equipped Griffin's rarity. So essentially what that means is that the higher the rarity of the Griffin Pet, the harder the mobs will be, and the better the loot that you get will be as well. So for the common Griffin Pet, it's pretty much useless, although if you do want to farm only Griffin feathers, which actually sell for quite a lot of money, you can use a common one and just destroy all the mobs that you spawn, as they'll have barely any HP. Then obviously the uncommon, you get the slightly harder mobs, slightly more ancient claws. Rare one, you can actually get even more than that, more ancient claws, harder mobs, etc. But it's only until you get to the epic Griffin Pet where you can actually start to dig up an item called the Crown of Greed, and the Crown of Greed is a very rare drop with an epic Griffin Pet, where if you just dug up a burrow, there's a chance of it actually digging up instead of a Griffin feather, and they can actually sell for a pretty decent amount of money on the auction house when the event is active, and it does vary depending on whether it's not. However, the legendary Griffin is definitely where it's at. This rarity of the pet being the best one will actually give you the hardest mobs in the game, of course. However, you have a chance of dropping a lot of really cool items. I'll put up a lot of these images on screen for you guys to see, but you can get the dwarf turtle shell mitts, crochet tiger plushies, antique remedies, crowns of greed, washed up souvenirs, Minos relics, chimera books, and many really cool items. And a lot of these items are actually very useful, surprisingly. Like normally when events get released, some items will be good, some items will be bad, some items will be pretty much mediocre, not too good, not too terrible in any way, but for most of the items in the Mythological Ritual, they're all useful in some way. And that's actually going to be very important for the rest of this video, as I'm going to cover exactly why this is very useful right now. Alright, so I'm sure a lot of you are wondering right now, well, why is this the best event in the game? Why am I saying that this is the best one so far? And what actually separates it from, say, the fishing event, maybe the mining event, spooky festivals, Jerry events? Why is the mythological creature the one that you should definitely be investing in? Well, the short answer to this, if you don't want to see the reasoning behind it, is that it's very easy to earn so many coins from it, and you can also earn really useful pet items. If you compare this to an activity such as zealot grinding, the summoning eyes that you drop from the special zealots are only useful for selling them for money, because there's a very high chance that normal players are not going to be doing dragons and using their summoning eyes, because that's normally what just the richer players do to try and get dragon pets to have some fun. And realistically speaking, it's not that great of an item in terms of its value. It only sells for a lot of money because the community has sort of set a price tag on it, and people are willing to pay that much money to do their dragons. This event, however, is very cheap to get started with. You can actually get a hold of a rare Griffin Pet for around 5 million coins when the event is active, and like I mentioned before, the rare pet lets you grab a lot of Griffin feathers and also a decent amount of ancient claws, and if you farm for say maybe 2 to 3 hours, in about that amount of time you should have been able to earn back all the money you spent on the pet. And if you choose to farm even more feathers, even more ancient claws just for fun, then you're going to be able to earn even more money on top of the price of the original pet, and that's going to help you progress your Skyblock account a lot further, and it's going to be very beneficial in the long run. However, the rare Griffin Pet is not where it stops at. Of course, I did mention the epic and the legendary variants, but realistically, I'm going to throw away the epic variant, as the epic one isn't that great compared to legendary. You can only really get the Crowns of Greed from the treasure drops, and I believe you have a very small chance of getting the washed up souvenir, although I'm pretty sure that's not the case. As far as I'm concerned, the Crown of Greed is the only cool item you can get from digging up from treasures, so we're going to go with the legendary Griffin Pet for this video. So what's so special about this pet? Well, as I mentioned at the beginning of the video, you get the best items and the best mobs in the game. But it is very expensive, and it costs about 50 to 60 million coins to get a hold of one at the beginning of the event. Now, for the average Skyblock player, this is definitely a very huge investment, and for me, even with 150 million coins in my purse, that put a huge dent in my bank, and I went under 100 million coins when I bought one. However, I definitely do not regret it, because I was able to earn a lot of items in return, and I was able to sell a lot of those items as well to earn back all the money that I spent, plus extra profit. And if I chose to sell my pet back once again to the auction house, I would be well over 200 million coins, as I got my use out of it, and I could just rebuy it back at the start of the event if I chose to. The amount of item drops that you can get using the legendary Griffin Pet is super simple. If you spend about 2 to 3 hours per day of the event, and the event goes for around 5 in real life days, and I don't really know how many Skyblock days that is, you can earn a lot of items and fill up about half of a backpack, I would say. If I just have a look at the backpack that I ended up using for this event, I haven't kept everything. I did end up keeping 1 Crown of Greed and 1 Antique Remedies, but I did have about 4 of them during the event. I had 1 washed up souvenir, 3 other Crown of Greeds, and I had 2 Shelmets as well. But you can see that I've still kept all of the Griffin feathers that I dropped, all the gold, all the iron, and the enchanted ancient claws. And if I sold all this stuff right now, it would probably go for around 10 million coins. I'm just holding on to it because I want to be a little bit patient with when I sell it all, but you get the idea. It's super easy to get these items, and because it's super easy to get these items, it makes it so that you can actually cover the cost of your pet relatively easily, even if you don't spend too much time playing the game, or if you're confident that you won't be able to earn your money back. A lot of you guys may still not be convinced, however, as I'm not really showing you the RNG that you can get with these drops and how good it can be. So I'm going to put up a couple of screenshots of some of the higher level players in this game from higher level guilds to show you guys all the items that a lot of people have gotten by themselves. Granted, they did definitely spend countless hours upon hours of grinding, but you get the idea. If you dedicate a lot of time to the game, and that doesn't have to be too much time either, it can be around 2 to 3 hours per day, it could be maybe 1 hour one day, 5 hours the next day, you should be able to earn back all the money with the pet, and because of that, it makes it super profitable. And if you compare this to other events in the game, it doesn't even come close to the amount of money you can earn or the items you can get. If we take the fishing event as an example, which is hosted by Marina, the fishing mayor, that event lets you catch up a lot of sharks from the water, which is actually really good for money. The great white teeth can sell for a pretty solid amount, and if you fish for a lot of the fishing festivals that happen, you can cash out from anywhere from 4 mil to even like 20 million coins if you get lucky with Megalodon pet drops or anything like that. But the only issue with the fishing event is that you need to be fishing 24, which is a pretty high requirement that not too many people have, and the fishing festivals only happen for an hour every like 9 or 8 hours or so, and most players will not be able to attend every single one that happens, which makes it a lot harder to farm these items and actually profit out of it significantly. Same goes for the National Mining Month. The refined minerals do sell for quite a decent amount of money, not during the event, but mainly after the event. However, it doesn't come anywhere close to the sheer amount of pet items, treasure drops, and anything that you can actually get from the Mythological Ritual event, which is why I still say this is by far the best one so far, because the amount of money that you can earn from this one just outcompetes the other ones completely. And I definitely did not regret spending the 50-ish, 60-ish million coins that I spent for this Griffin Pet that I do have, as if someone like me, who doesn't play this game too much and spends their time recording, editing, and uploading videos for you guys can do it, then I'm sure that a lot of you guys with a lot more time on your hands definitely can as well. Another thing that I want to talk about in terms of the money that the event makes, and that's the fact that being an event, all the items, treasures, whatever you get from it, all appreciate in value over time. So once the event has finished, everything is rolled out, all the people have stopped farming, and they've held onto all their pet items and done whatever they need to, the auction house slowly but surely starts losing a lot of these items as more and more of them get bought out to put on other people's pets, meaning that the prices end up rising over time, and this means that you can sell your items for even more money than you would have been able to, which further secures my point that this event is insane for money, and it's one that I highly recommend you go for. This also applies for any other event. This goes for the Jerry event, for the spooky festivals, for the fishing festivals, literally anything you can think of. Any item that you can get from any sort of limited time games will end up increasing in value over time, but nothing really gets close to the mythological ritual one, because these pet items are always going to be high in demand. People want certain items like the turtle shell mitts, like the tiger plushies, the crowns of greed, and because of this, it makes it a very reliable source of income because the prices will always stay relatively stable, and if they don't stay at the lower stable price, they will just end up shooting up instead, because the market is starting to lose a lot of the good items as too many people are buying them. Not to mention that this event is also really fun to do. You can actually get into a party with a bunch of your friends, you can farm together in a private hub, and if one of you guys gets a really difficult mini-boss, mainly one of the Minos champions or the Minos Inquisitors, then you can all group up and try to take it out together to hopefully get a really cool item in return. And it's just a really fun thing to do overall, on top of all the money, the profits, and the great items that you can get from it. So to conclude and quickly summarize all the points in this video, the Mythological Ritual event is the best one in the game so far for two main reasons. The first one being that you can get a ton of the really cool items to put on your pets, to use as armor, or just to craft some really nice weapons. And the second one being that you can use the exact same items to not only upgrade your profile, but to sell them for extra money, as you will end up getting a lot of them if you dedicate enough time to the game, and overall end up covering the cost of the Gryphon Pet that you had to start out with in the beginning, which you can also use for further events to come to earn even more coins out of that. And with all of that being said, that's going to conclude everything for today's video. So hopefully you guys did find this useful or informative in some way. When this event rolls around again for the third time, I highly recommend that if you can afford the legendary Griffin Pet, definitely get your hands on one. It's very good. I cannot stress that enough of how useful it is and how much money you can earn from it. Although, if you can't afford the legendary one, go for the rare one at least, because the rare one should be able to earn your coins back, and you can use that to earn even more money and then buy more cool stuff, or potentially upgrade to the legendary one. But with all that out of the way, that's going to be it for me today, everybody. So hopefully you all did enjoy this video, and if you did, be sure to leave a like and consider subscribing to the channel, because I make these Hypixel Skyblock videos every Wednesdays and Fridays. And also, if you got any further questions or comments about this video, or you want to have a chat to me when I'm live, be sure to pop into my Twitch streams. I stream every Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. The links are down in the description below. But, with all that being said, hopefully you all did enjoy this video. And as always, take care and peace.
I'm gonna keep growing. I grow trees on my back. It's very bad. I have a medical condition. You know, I'm wishing for it to stop, but it doesn't. How many kids do I have in my basement? A dozen. Oh, that was a good rhyme.